And we are live once again. Hi everyone, hi, I'm Kushim with Cryptic Hybrid, and this is today's second live stream, actually the better live stream of the day. If you want to see any live stream today, this is the one to see, because we're going to talk about a new game that's in development. It's called Grayscale, and I have Anthony here with me from Fatal Studios to talk about it. Hi Anthony, thanks for doing this.
Hi, thanks for having me on and discussing my upcoming game Grayscale.
Okay, well, first of all, let's tell people your history. So, when were you born, and how did your mom and dad come together?
Well,
I'm kidding. Let's talk about the studio. Yeah. Let's talk about the studio, Fatal Studios. Tell us a little bit about the team, and then go right in. Pitch us Grayscale and why we want to play it immediately.
Okay, well, first off, Fatal Studios is a small game development company that I started a while back and just kind of pushed ahead on my own. I knew I wanted to tell stories, and I feel that through games, it's the best way for me to express the stories that I want to tell. So instead, we started becoming a team. I went to film school, and so I have a history in film, and so does a majority of the team. And so we were screenplay writers, editors, directors, cinematographers, and we came together and we decided we just want to make what we want to play. So Grayscale actually technically was the first project we started on a couple years ago, 4 years ago. And it just started with cheesy white box demo where we kept writing a story and talking about what gameplay we want and how we want people to experience the world that we're giving them. And then just because it was such a huge scale, we kind of worked on other projects. We came out with a mobile game called Cookie Cruncher, which is totally different from Grayscale, but amazing nonetheless. And we worked on other software. And it
makes me hungry already.
I know, yeah. It's about eating all the cookies. So, every time I play, I gotta eat cookies. And so we worked on that and released it, and it was amazing, and everything about that was great. And then came back to Grayscale after we worked on other projects, and we did we outsourced and hired for other mobile games and PC games, and then now we're back to our own project Grayscale, which was, it's a huge undertaking, but we're chipping away at it, and it's become better than I've ever imagined. And so I'll get into Grayscale. Grayscale, you play as a sentient robot waking up kind of with scattered memories and in the middle of a decrepit and feral city. Inside the city, there's mindless drones that once kind of automated civilization, like the Amazon robots or think of WALL-E. They now roam violent and angry, unlike WALL-E. And the players get to make the decisions to either attempt to escape the city or explore deeper, unraveling a much darker and unforgiving event that's being played out in front of you, almost as if something's calling to you deeper in the city. Grayscale is it's a fusion of a first-person storytelling with the immersion and creativity of slight role-playing games. A big thing in Grayscale is we wanted to have a heavy story the player could figure out, but on their own means. You can change the body parts that you as a robot have, your arms and your legs. You can read and figure out more of this city, or you could surpass that and just go straight for survival and escape and be the best you can be. So that's what we have for Grayscale today.
That sounded a bit like the army programmed the robot, like be the best you can be, the best robot. Yeah. Just help the military, conquer more oil-rich countries. That's always awesome. Okay, yeah, so that's yeah. It's just it's what robots do apparently, or what they want to do at least. Well, if they're programmed. So tell me a little bit about. Okay, so you said how do you get from film to games? Was it like a natural transition? Did you maybe this vision you have for Grayscale, was it maybe born initially as maybe a script for a film?
That's a good question. Well, my transition from film to games is, for me, really easy. I focused on post-production, editing, VFX, and I had to learn coding and software for that. And doing that, I would pitch a lot of my talents to production companies through game programs like Unreal Engine, and that would get me hired to be an editor. And then doing that, I realized that making the pitches brought me more joy, and I loved that kind of more than actually getting the job. So I was like, all right, I want to do this. I want to go full towards games. As a kid, I'd make all those really garbage, walking around storytelling games, like scary horror games on Game Jolt. I did that younger, but with much less software than there is today. Oh, and so
Well, yeah,
Grayscale was originally
yeah.
always a game in my head, and I brought it to a team member of Fatal Studios, Min, who is a screenplay writer for film, and he turned the gameplay that I had, it started with, into a really captivating story that just inspired me to want to continue this. And then so we turned that Grayscale into a screenplay, and then turned that into a video game script.
So you mentioned that the player's character is a sentient robot. Why make that choice? Wouldn't that be... I'm playing devil's advocate right here, right? I'm not disagreeing or anything for the choice. It's how connected do you think the player would be to something that's, well, not human in this case?
Well, that's a good question, and that is, I guess, Grayscale is a kind of exploring of what people connect with. We've connected, and I brought this up earlier. We connect with, Wally in Wally, but he's just a robot that doesn't even talk. We connect with stuffed animals, like really deeply. People have this, they want to connect with things, and putting this first-person camera on and having you explore just initially gives you that connection, but the ultimate goal is to continually keep you immersed. Grayscale, we never want to pull you out because we want the player to put your emotions, your feelings, your morals, your choices onto, through your keyboard and mouse onto this robot. And I think so using a sentient robot is it's a good blank slate.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe you used those naughty words, blank slate, because everyone's born like blank slate. Doesn't anyone know that? That happens, yeah. No, it's just a crazy thing, but it's interesting because on a sentient robot, right? You can project more than on a character that has age, a race, a voice, right? Because it's not your voice, it's not maybe your gender, maybe it's not your race, maybe it's not your age, right? So those things can connect people to a character, or they can disconnect them. Whereas with the robots, well, the robot is nothing, and then all your choices make him what is. So I'm guessing that that with this option, right, with this choice, right, maybe players will be even more invested in the main character because it is them more than it could ever be with Jane Doe or John Doe.
Yeah, exactly. I like what you're bringing up because in Grayscale we give you that choice. Like, is a robot really nothing, or is it what you make of it? And you can actually determine how the game ends through what you feel you are as the game progresses. And yeah, I think you're totally right. Oh, no,
how do you think this will, this pairing, right, human player, robot, actual character, will be in terms of how, the player makes decisions as to what to do, right? Because, oh, maybe they see the robot as, I don't know, disposable or more powerful or something that's, could do evil much more than they would do. So do you think maybe that's gonna leave, more choices to the player because of its,
yeah, potentially
kind of nature, let's say?
Yeah, I like what you're getting at. Potentially, the player can have a difference with the robot and thus play differently than their own personality because they see it as a blank slate. Being a robot in film and in video games is an old idea. It's been done a lot, and so I think with Grayscale, we're trying to add that little twist to it and have fun with it because a big aspect in Grayscale is your memories. This isn't the first time you kind of quote unquote booted up, but you don't know that. So exploring the world, there might be letters to you or things that you have done that you're seeing the impact of, and what you're playing is what you're remembering now.
So what would be the ultimate goal? Like, does the robot have a specific, let's say, target or, any drive in any way? Or are other forces around you kind of pushing you towards, the eventual ending of Grayscale, whichever that may be?
Yeah, so we have two big drives right off the bat in Grayscale. One of them is a kind of natural drive to keep yourself safe and win the game. Players want to play a game to win, and winning the game means escaping. You're in a hostile environment. You want to be in a safe environment. And thus we give you this path in front of you in ways of keep progressing. You can escape. However, there is something else calling you. And in the demo, you can kind of see the text in the top right and at the very end that something else is pulling you towards it. And so it's up to the player to decide, well, is my main goal want to escape, or is my main goal to figure out what the heck is going on and who I am?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the setting. So you're in this city. Can you tell us about? Because I'm thinking this is your whole world, right? I'm guessing the whole game was going to be set only in this
majority,
city specifically,
yes.
or okay. So that's exclusive. You're not going to stay in this gloomy old place all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So tell me a little bit about the history of this city and how it came to be.
Well, Blackport is to me a very unique city. It has a architectural kind of hybrid of this Victorian style, rough and tumble brick buildings with the futuristic style of, it is a more advanced society that has robots automating everything from mail delivery to grocery delivery to all those monotone jobs. So the streets aren't ever really utilized by mankind. And the city itself was made as almost a testing site for a specific project that has caused this strange, eerie, gloomy, haze that has gone over everything, and ultimately that's become your creation.
So was this city originally, in its inception, was it a human town, or was it?
Yeah, it was a human town, but almost like a nuclear testing site, but not for nukes. It's mankind, right. Society has this huge project that they want to test, and they need a massive scaled city with people to test it on.
Oh, so it's like any other Chinese city since the 1980s. Pretty much. Because they pretty much looked at an area as like, oh, we need a city here, and then 1 year later, voila, a city of 2 million people. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, they actually do that. So that's so what are you going to see more? You said you're going to see a lot of drones, and some of them are not so friendly. Are we going to see the human element of the city?
So the characters in the world are majority going to be this feral robot that does consume the city. We do have a human element in the city, and that is another choice up to the player for them to kind of like take it or leave it. Like, is this human element personal to you? Because, as a person playing a robot, you're a human too. So does this human
Mhm.
element kind of relate to you and make you want to strive to find it? Or is this something like, well, that's not what I am as the character in the game? And so that's another choice that you get to go see. But yes, there is a human element to find, and there is a external source to the city that does come in. And yeah, I know I'm being quite vague, and
No,
I
that's
think
fine. I mean, spoilers, obviously.
yeah, but I think the as a player of games, I love figuring out and exploring a game, and kind of the solutions that I find feeling my own and not feeling like they're laid out in front of me
Mhm.
like a path. And that's what all Grayscale is. Grayscale is, it's one huge storyline that has a bunch of stories in it, and every time you play, you might find the different storylines, you might understand different things.
Okay. Well, first I have a question from the chat. Will there be VR support?
There won't be
Sounds a
VR.
little bit. Mm. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, to put it simply, there won't be VR support. Um, we don't really have an eye at the VR market right now, as we want to
Mhm.
kind of push the limits of how big and how kind of chaotic we can get the game to be, and VR hinders that a lot.
Okay, that's fair. Well, yeah, and the market is not that big. Despite all the craze and everything, the market is not that big. So
Yeah, VR is
one thing that
amazing, but true.
I've never
Oh,
tried. I don't have a stuff. It's like $400. I'm sorry. It's too much of an investment for something that I don't see it, having a good return. That's all. At least not at this point. When headsets are maybe cheaper and they're all fully integrated, no wires, no anything like that, and then maybe we can talk. But other than that, it's a little bit. It's still early days. Obviously, there's gonna be some learning pains. So tell me a little bit about the freedom you'll have in the world. Is this open world? Or is it because the demo is pretty
quite linear.
compact and you have well yeah and linear, but how are you planning the game to be?
Um, the focus on the game is a kind of open scenario, if that makes sense. It is not open world, but the levels and the problems and the environment that is laid in front of you can be taken at different directions. A good example would be the Dishonored series, or more recently Prey,
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
it has its levels, but each level is taken differently. You can play it different styles, you can find different things and escape it different ways.
It's
Or
interesting
crisis,
that you
crisis.
said it because I think quite a few people who would look at the demo Grayscale would think of Dishonored in terms of the world and kind of like the combination of human machine and where that can lead, and
Hmm.
not so happy places, I guess. So was that one of the inspirations?
Yeah. I mean, Dishonored is quite recent, and but yeah, playing through it is definitely a favorite of mine. I do just generally enjoy that type of storytelling, as a
Mm-hmm.
huge open world game can tell an amazing story. Red Dead 2 just came out. However, it does have its limitations, and so I think a good balance and mix of that is to have the storytelling of a smaller, more compact, focused game with the feeling of, oh, I can still do what I want in this area.
Okay. Just quickly, because there's some questions in the chat. Two things. Will the game have skill points? Let's. Well, it does have an RPG element, but skill points, anything like that? Any upgrades for
The
your
skill points
machine?
in
Let's say.
Grayscale aren't like specific to, you don't have levels. but the different
Hmm.
limbs and kind of body parts that you find do change how your robot plays. So if you go to a in the full game, a kind of like mail delivery building, you can find those robots that specialize in being faster. So your agility gets higher if you take their parts. If you go to a kind of construction area, you'll find stronger robots that are built to carry more. So if you grab their arms, then your strength will go higher over your agility, and you can, take bigger hits, but you're also slower. And so that's kind of where we put the kind of quote unquote skill point aspect
Hmm.
into the game. As like I said, there's no leveling. It's what you find you can automatically put on and change.
Okay, that's fair. So, because this is another from Void there connected to this, so you can modify your character, right, with the parts that you
Mhm.
find. Does that include weapons? Can you modify weapon parts, or are weapons just like one
Yes.
unit
So
and you equip or disequip? Hmm.
in the full game and in the demo, even it just depends if you find it or not. You can get a base weapon, which is just as you saw in the demo, is a base gun, like kind of a rifle, and there are
Hmm.
weapon mods. So right now that we have in the demo, you can get kind of a nail gun mod, so it turns your rifle into a nail gun, or turns it into a flamethrower even, or a rocket launcher. But it's the same gun, you're just modifying it. So yes,
Right.
there are heavy weapon mods that you can get.
Okay, and how much will you be limited in terms of carrying capacity? So, for example, will you be able to kind of swap things on the fly really fast? Will you maybe have dual wield weapons since you do have, two hands? Can you, I don't know, maybe sacrifice something for, like why not an arm? So, in order to carry like a bigger, more powerful weapon or heavier weapon?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so depending on your strength, you can get heavier weapons, and bigger weapons can have more mods. And that's not in the demo, but in our full game, we have a kind of, it's fun to play around with that. Like I can put on a nail gun mod and then like a plasma mod. So now I have like a plasma nail gun, which is weird, but also super cool. But other guns, lighter weight, more ammo, they only take one. And then our
Hmm.
guns use a battery system, so every weapon you get uses the same ammo, which is just a battery. But the stronger that weapon hits, the more battery it uses up.
Okay, and this battery will so the battery will be kind of the fuel, well, the ammo, right, for the weapons.
Mhm.
Does that power your character too? Is that something that you have to, manage your
No,
characters? Oh,
we
okay.
don't want a negative side effect to being a robot. Like having power.
Mm.
What immediately comes up to my mind is in Far Cry 2. Your character had malaria and you had to take pills every once in a while, and I just thought that was extremely
Yeah,
frustrating.
that's.
I did not like that just negative aspect to it. I
But
understand what they're trying to
come
get
on,
at, though.
you can be honest. It was dumb, right? Because malaria
Yeah,
doesn't really work. Not only malaria doesn't work like that. It's like, oh, you have to take pills every 2 hours, or else you're gonna like, you're gonna see red. No, that doesn't how.
yeah, it
No,
gets rid
that's
of
not
that
how it
kind of,
works.
it gets rid of that feeling like a video game player. It's like, oh well, I don't have
Yeah,
malaria. This sucks.
yeah, that's right. It's good. So you're not gonna have to worry about you running out of power
No, no,
in
you
the
have
actual
no like
power.
limitations to being a robot. If anything, you have advancements. Like if you get your agility to a certain level, you can now double jump, or you can now cling on to the
Oh.
wall or wall run. And so, if anything, I don't want to put any negative side effects to being who you are. If anything, there's positives.
Huh. So will your health, the health of the character of the robot will be directly determined by the parts you equip?
Yes, yes. So our health system is pretty complex, as in if the only enemy in the demo is a melee enemy, so they're pretty generic of hitting you kind of in your core. But if you get hit on your arms might break off and totally, be useless, but you can still go and be alive. However,
Mhm.
there is a point where you're like, okay, I don't have two arms. If he hits me and I lose my leg, I'm kind of done now. So there is a
Actually,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. No, because I was just going to say that the personal experience from the demo, I actually, by mistake, took out one of my limbs, and well, one of my legs, and then I was like, wait, I can't put my leg back because I actually didn't read the UI, so that was my fault. And I was like, oh, let's see how the robot works with this. And you actually walked, well, I guess you hopped a little bit, and you were just significantly slower, but you functioned, so it's not like you were, incapable of moving anymore, but obviously there was that limitation, and as soon as I put the leg back, it all worked fine. So in that regard, you can, if you want, you can go, without one limb or one leg. You could do that.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to explore, and it's fun to build the levels around that. Like, you can crouch in the game, but you being legless is shorter than crouching. And so maybe there are points where you're like, hey, that's a really small hole. Maybe if I lose all my limbs and kind of roll underneath and then put them back on, I might be able to get into that location, that secret area.
Wow, a crawling robot without any legs. That's not creepy at all.
No,
not at all.
No, and it's on purpose. Yeah.
That exactly. It's like you wanted this. Another thing from the chat, because I really like. Well, it's a very extensive question, so would take as much time as you want. Looks like you're gonna have to solve puzzles as well as do fighting, shooting, escaping. Is that right? So pretty much, a general gameplay question. What are you going to do overall?
Yeah. So we aren't emphasizing gunplay. I am putting a lot of design choice in gunplay, but I feel like however you want to explore, you can explore. So in the demo, you can totally avoid the robot and still succeed. He's just an obstacle. And so yes, and so solving puzzles, there's just 2 small ones in the demo, but I feel like it helps get the player exploring a little bit and thinking differently. And so in the full game, we have different areas that, if I want to just go guns blazing through this crowd, then I can get over there. But if I want to use my, my robot abilities to get around this puzzle, then I can go up and around and not even, have to deal with this horde that's in front of me.
Okay, so when it comes to challenges, you'll have multiple options to, overcome them.
Yes. If you want a first-person shooter of Grayscale, you can get a first-person shooter of Grayscale. If you want an adventure exploration, you can get an adventure exploration. It just depends how you play and how you as a person or you as a character sees an obstacle and the solution to that obstacle.
Okay, so it's changes based on the player's decisions and how they want to play it.
Yeah, exactly. We're providing different paths to the solution, basically.
Okay, that's fun. Sorry, another question in the chat: can enemies take your limbs? I don't know why that's funny. I just imagine like a robot coming up to you and just like pulling your arm out, and because technically you can take theirs, right? If you kill them. So is that an option? I don't know.
So no, enemies can't use your limbs. They can, like we said, destroy them. You are a sentient robot, and they aren't. They don't understand. What makes you better than them could be I can make myself however I want. You were made to be a Amazon package delivery robot. And that's all right. Basically. But something now makes them kind of spark and feral as well. But yeah.
Any hints as to why they would be feral? A virus, maybe?
Not a virus, but what can I say? But a central point. Whatever's calling to you, called to them.
Okay, you know what? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna help a little bit on this. Is Bitcoin going to bring on the robot apocalypse? Can you tell us now, before it's too late?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Everyone, just careful when you mine. Very good
propaganda against Bitcoin.
Well, you know what? I really hope it's not, because I wouldn't mind some Bitcoin either. Dollars, anything you can give me. That's
Yeah.
Another good question. Will you be able to build robots to help you? Will there be any AI that that doesn't want to kill you and wants to help you throughout the game?
Yes. The second part to your question is it's up to you. The part of does it want to kill you or help you depends how well you build it.
Oh, that's interesting. So wait, are there any other? Well, you could maybe tease this. Are you the only sentient robot in the city?
Uh, there's two, so we'll say that, including you.
Oh, okay. And is there? I'm guessing that's part of the story, like the
Yes,
fact that it's
yeah.
only two of you. Okay, all right. No spoilers. That's fine. Very good question again from Sarah. Did your background in film make you more picky, demanding about graphics and cinematics?
Um, I think so. There was a point in designing Grayscale where we had a really good feel, but it looked awful, and and it wasn't the actual graphics or models. It was just something was off. It felt like Nintendo-y, which isn't a bad thing, but for, this kind of darker, immersive game
You can
that
say
didn't feel well.
Nintendo like childish games. They look like child
It's
games, like
amazing.
for like
Don't
four
play
year
it.
olds.
It's No, no, no. I love playing. I mean, Mario Odyssey is one of the most greatest games of all time, but it's different. It's a very heavily
Right.
gameplay, puzzle focused, which I love. But the game I wanted to go out to make was more, you get into it, you're immersed into and there was something that was missing, and I wasn't taking into account that the camera that games use is a camera. I was like, oh yeah, that's what the player
Mhm.
sees through, and just something had to click in my head where, oh, it's a camera. So I just, from my background in doing post production, went into the camera of the player and did a whole week of just changing it and tweaking it and making it to what you see now. So like 80% of what the camera sees is a lot of post production.
Mhm. Well,
So
you know
yes,
what?
it'd make me
The
picky in the graphics, but I'm not a big cinematics fan of the camera
mhm.
flying around. I think it's done well, but for the immersion, there aren't any cinematics in Grayscale.
Huh. That's interesting. Because usually you have, maybe like an intro with, in a world, stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it's okay. So it's pretty straightforward. Maybe kind of sort of like Half Life. Kind of makes me think of that because that didn't have
Yeah, yeah, I see
technically
what
an
you're saying.
intro.
Yeah.
You just went through. Yeah, it was all in game.
Yeah,
So
everything you
that's
experience is through your eyes. So if an explosion happens in the game, if you're not looking at it, you're not looking at
right, and you miss it. Some people might
it.
actually, say that's a bad thing. It's like, no, you have
Yeah.
to see the stuff. And it's a design decision, right? At the end of the day, because, some people want that cinematic feel and they want the player to be looking into a specific place. And that's fine, but it can be too heavy sometimes, depending on the game. Like, I want full control of my character, and then 20 minutes out of a 4 hour experience, it's the game forcing me to look at something, like a
Yeah. Well, I
airplane
mean,
crashing or whatever.
just whatever they decide to go with, the game developers they go with. Like Metal Gear Solid
Hmm.
5 had a ton of cinematics, but it was still a phenomenal game.
So, do you think that how would you mitigate, the possibility of people missing something because they just didn't look in that area? Are you making any change in terms of lighting, the design of the levels that will make sure that people won't miss essential things in the world?
Yeah, that's a good question. When going through and talking to the level designers and designing the levels, because that's where everything's experienced in. It's definitely, we have to take in kind of like the psychological focal points. Uh, the first step was to make a good basis. So we have that basis, as you can see in the demo. It's pretty bleak, and everything that
Mm,
has any sort of color and light to it stands out. And so that was a good
right.
point of making focal points. Like the only real weird color is that purple in the demo, and that's where your gun is. And uh,
Right.
but people can miss the gun in the demo. I've seen some gameplay where they just totally avoid the gun, but they still beat the level. And so the focal points was a big one. A lot of testing and playing around with was another one. Just like what do you see? Like what do the lines of the city kind of point towards that may have your eyes focus on? And so it was a lot of playing with people's focus and what they want to do. It's hard because it's easy to do that in when you're working on movies, because you can frame the movie. You can't really frame what people see in a free moving video game, other than just that's how the design of the world is. And so like so I make the person walk down the hallway, I'm framing what they see now.
Yeah, that's because I mean, I've follow some people who talk about level design and how difficult that can be to without fixing the camera, right? Without forcing the player to look at something, how you create the world and the levels to make them aware of certain elements in the level, because that's it's not easy, and it's light design and all that. So it's you got your work cut out. What can I say? That's a good thing, creating. A very specific question. If you can take their heads for you, like the enemy's heads or parts, can you track them down after the electromagnetic signature? That's a very specific thing.
Yeah. I'll answer that by kind of explaining how it works. So it's kind of an answer, kind of not. You can take only from a destroyed robot, you can take their kind of identification chip that is in their head. You can't directly take off their head and put it in your pocket, even though that is pretty cool. But you can take what identifies them. So if you find a robot that was made to kind of enforce safety, so like a police robot, and you down him without destroying his head, you can take out his ID chip, put it in yours, and now you have access to the police station. So that's kind of a half answer, but that's how it works.
No, well, that sounds, I mean, that's good, because now we have, I have another question based on that. So if will that be the way of reaching new areas, or maybe progressing in the world, finding such chips in certain robots? Or will you have other options to get in new areas?
Yeah, that is an option. Our demo is very kind of limited, but because the demo was a big, like, this is how the game feels, this is the mood, this is the tone, and we wanted to put that out there. But to the gameplay, it doesn't really highlight a lot of the gameplay that we have in the main game. As in, yes, you can. Maybe destroying one robot and taking his ID chip is a way around destroying another 10, and maybe running out of ammo, so you can't destroy those 10. So yes, it is one path to take. In other ways, it's its own path to not the end, but to maybe a better item, or now you have an access to these police robot body parts. So holy cow, that there might be better than your kind of garbage, cardboard box delivery arm that you have.
Right. So will any ID chip or any part that you take will maybe make it so you are not seen as a threat by certain robots, at least? Can you kind of disguise yourself using, like if I take, a police robot and I take down 4 and I take all their parts, all their arms, all their legs, it's like, and I equip my character with them. Will other police robots be like, oh yeah, this guy's one of us? Well, of course they will say like, like the zombie part, one of us, and then leave you alone.
That is a good question, and yes, to an extent. An example that comes to mind is the Hitman games. How if you disguise yourself as a guard, most of the guards ignore you, except for maybe like the head of the guards. So that's how it is in Grayscale. If you take a construction worker chip, most of the construction workers might pass you by, except for the robot that's in charge of, making sure that you are all construction robots.
Right. Oh, so it's not going to be like free reign and like, yeah, I'm just walking here, no one's going to kill me, that's fine. There's still, danger in the world.
Yeah, if you have the right chip, most of them will ignore you. Most of them. But there's a wide variety of robots.
Can you kind of give, a few examples?
Yeah, so we have, in the demo, you see the bipedal, human-looking kind of like drone. He's flopping around almost like a undead, as you can say. And then those have their own varieties, as in examples I've said before: construction, police, every wide range of that. And then you have
every utility, sewage worker or cleaner or something like that. So what you would see. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And then you have like the what you can think of now as like a drone, the flying ones above your head that aren't in the demo. And you have those, which are, they're smaller and harder to pick out. And to me, playing through Grayscale, scarier because they're flying. So you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to see me. And they don't really pose a direct threat, as when they see you, what are they going to do? Run into you? But they do bring in threats. So they're like, hey, there's a dude here that's not supposed to be here. Come on in and find him.
Can I find the dog walker robot and just take his dog, kill him, take his dogs, and just go around with the dogs?
You can. I'm not gonna tell you if it's a real dog though.
Oh well. Actually, that makes sense because probably they wouldn't have real dogs anymore. That's true. Another question from the chat: after the game is finished, okay, why not? Let's go. Let's go all crazy in terms of. Who needs a structured thing? Will there be content in terms of game modes? So what would happen after the game finishes? What are the options for the player?
So we're working on New Game Plus. There aren't multiple game modes. There's only what you'd call story mode, but it is being designed so that different plays can have different outcomes. And then, in terms of content, we are looking at potential expansions like DLC that are story related.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. So it's primarily a single player experience.
Yes,
that's how it's built.
Single player, no multiplayer planned.
Right. So the Battle Royale mode is going to come after release. That's basically what you're saying.
Or is it?
It's like $4.99. Oh, it's gonna be like you're gonna be. It's like Grayscale. Grayscale announces Battle Royale mode and beta starting tomorrow. That's basically it.
The story game's not.
That would be nice.
Battle Royale cranked.
Well, you know what? You kind of have to. At this point, it's either that or I don't know. I mean, really, everyone's doing it. It's it was card games, it was multiplayer games with different various weird characters. It was before that? What was it before that? MOBAs. That was before.
MOBAs.
So get with the trends. I mean, So let me ask you a little bit because you mentioned about dogs and how they're they might be not real dogs. Are there is there any wildlife in the town left, or is it all automatic and there's like no birds, no rats, no anything to kind of give a sense of life outside?
So we understand that being kind of this gloom and bleak city does get sort of not overwhelming, but there is a limit people have. And that is kind of what you're thrown to in the beginning. To answer your question, I'll say two things. I'll say yes, there are wildlife, but also a robot's eyes isn't the same as a human's eyes, if that makes sense. It can be easily altered.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying I can see amoebas on the freaking puddle in the floor. Well, thank you. And I can say like, oh, this is my amoeba. I'm gonna call it Squiggles. I don't know, or something. It's,
Yeah, I'm saying that there is a chance that like you could have memories of a bird and see that bird, but it's not there physically in front of you.
All right. Well, that's a little sad, actually. That makes me sad. So we're not gonna have like a pet cockatiel or something.
No
Okay,
pets.
well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
no pets. Tell me a little bit about the, because the demo obviously the limitations and everything. You mentioned the police station and maybe getting into it. Is there going to be a lot of places where you can go, like you can go into houses or shops or anything like that? Or will most things be closed off to you and you're just going to be on the street, on the back streets?
Yeah, that is a good question. We want to make every area you go meaningful, and from a kind of realistic of our team point of view, that means that we can't open up every door and street to you. Because if we did, then I feel like our time would be spent opening up the doors and less on filling in what's in those doors. So there are interiors and places to go, and they're packed full of lore, of story, of gameplay, of loot, of threat. But it's not every door in every building, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're gonna have the police station, the dog kettle,
Yeah.
so you can get yourself a
Yeah.
dog.
The battle royale
Well,
arena.
no, because that's true. That has to be there, and it's probably like it's just like a grand in the middle of the town. You're gonna reach it, halfway through, and just gonna be like a huge coliseum, and it's gonna be robots fighting each
Changes
other.
all the gameplay.
100 euros. Well, it's are there loot boxes? Oh, come on, there's not gonna be loot boxes. That's
Well, I mean,
that was
there are
one of the
boxes
questions in
that
the
have
chat.
loot in them, but they're free and in game.
Oh, and like Sarah, somebody likes dogs. Obviously, dogs are awesome. So obviously, of course, who doesn't like dogs? If tell me one person who doesn't like dogs or likes dogs or likes cats more than dogs, and we're gonna have a problem. That's for sure. I'm kidding. No, dogs are awesome. So obviously, I'm gonna put. You know what? The thing with dogs is because you've seen a lot of games and you see games. There are way too many freaking cats put into games, more than normal.
Oh, you think so?
And
Yeah.
they're not. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. There are a lot of people obsessed with cats and making them characters and putting them in games and making games around them. Not so much about dogs. So that's a little bit disappointing. But
Did you love Fallout 4 then? With their dog
I
companion?
did not play for. Well, that's good. I didn't play Fallout 4, but
okay.
but that's one game. That's I'm not. It's
Yeah.
let's say it's the exception to the rule. It's not a bad thing. It's good that it's there. We just need more, more games with dogs in them. That's what I think. Cats playing pianos. Yeah, I mean, you have games with, where you can have a relationship with cats. Because I actually played one, so that's weird. But yeah, it's not grayscale, so that's good. It's more gloomy like that. So talking a bit about the world of, the city and the world. Can you maybe give not necessarily a timeline, but maybe a time period when this would be set? Is it the near future? Is it the further future, like 200 years in the future or something like that, or is it closer to our mortal times?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I think if you want to think of it relatively, it would be we did have it estimated 300 years in the future, but it's not modern society.
Set in stone.
300 years in the future. It's not like, oh, we had, the space race and we had, all these real modern things happen. It's a different reality, basically.
So what's different?
Their history is not our history.
You said it's right. So is this a different planet? Is this a different Earth or an alternate Earth with different history?
Yeah,
different
I would say
everything?
yes, but that's not a big. We're not going to get to that in the story. We're not going to be like, oh my gosh, now you take a rocket to real Earth and see, New York City.
Right.
It's just that's the world we put it in, so that we can kind of change the rules, if that makes sense. How they count dates isn't how we count dates. Their government system isn't our government system, and it's not because something happened in the past. It's just because that's how the events led up to this.
So what about the, let's say, place of robots and your character in the world. Are humans pretty much obsolete and just use obsolete in terms of doing menial tasks and everything's automized? Are robots pretty much doing everything and humans nothing?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, the excess and the amount of robots is due to everything is automized. Everything kind of standard. Like we still have people that do software development and website making and art, and they make video games, but we don't have.
How convenient, right? That the people who are left actually working are making video games. Really?
Hey, yeah, I gotta make the game. Yeah, might as well put that in. But yes, all the robots are the mailman. They are the delivery bots. They are the sewage workers. They are the garbage men. And so that's why there's a good amount of them. And then because there are so many of them, that's why a lot of them kind of do look human-like. Because if a person walked outside and they just saw nothing but these drones that we have now just flying, like millions of them, and they're huge and small, I'd be like, all right, but kind of saddening. You see these kind of humanoid looking robots, and it kind of adds a humanity aspect to them. So they are designed that as in purpose. We don't need to make robots to have 2 arms and 2 legs, but we do.
Right. Well, depending on what they do, right? It's the function and everything. Because delivery robot, it doesn't have to have 2 arms and 2 legs because it's just delivering freaking boxes. Yeah, so it's based on. So. What's your character? Is your character not odd man, odd robot out? Are you like
the black sheep?
I don't know, pariah or an accident, or what are you really?
You're not an accident. You're built on purpose, but nothing is sentient other than you and one other. And there's a reason for that, and that's the reason you want to figure out. And is this sentience a good thing or a bad thing? As a person, as a human playing the game, as this character, you kind of portray your sentience through it, if that makes sense. And so, that definitely makes you kind of the odd one out as you see all these other things kind of stumbling and mumbling all about. They're dumb. They're dumber than you are. They don't know how to take your arms off and put them on, like we said before. But you do, and that makes you special.
Oh, that's kind of like the hero journey. It's like, you're special. Now go out there and kill everything in sight.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a good.
So well, yeah, that's true. It's the road to hell. So can you tell me a little about will the game have any? Because I was thinking about the stealth elements and how you said that you don't have to kill certain robots. You can just kind of avoid them and everything. Will there be any, let's say, section specifically about either combat or stealth?
Not specifically, but if you play the demo right now, if you have a higher agility and then C is the crouch button, and if you can crouch, it's much less likely for them to see you. And that's kind of how we incorporated the stealth aspect to them, is all the enemies do have a line of sight and they do have hearing. And so crouching makes you quieter, your higher agility makes you quieter, a higher strength makes you louder. Yeah, so not situation specific stealth or not stealth, it's how you want to approach it. So if there's 3 bad guys in front of you and you have 2 shots left, maybe you want to stealth around them, or you can just distract them. Run in a circle. Hopefully you're faster.
Or just is there going to be any melee combat, or is it all through weapons attached to your arms?
That's a good question. We are actually working on melee combat right now. I'm not going to say if it's going to be fully in the game or not. There will be melee weapons, yes. But yeah, that's a big one that is actually being worked on right now. Because I understand, shooting is fun and all, but it's also fun to get a club and beat a robot's head in.
Really? Wait, so what do you want? What type of Wait.
Sorry?
What type of movies were you doing about bashing robots in their head with a bat?
I don't think
Let's get into that a little bit.
It's not the ones that I was working on. It's the ones that I'm inspired by. Aliens, Lord of the Rings. So that can kind of that has definitely leaked into Grayscale.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, you know what? I wouldn't mind an alien in here, like a xenomorph crawling around. That would be super awesome. But yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's Sony's fault. Let's be honest. Grayscale could have had that, but they with the licenses and shit, and yeah, it's still copyright and stuff. They wouldn't give that precious IP away. So that's probably the reason. That's probably why. That's the only reason why. So I was thinking a little bit about since you said that your agility and your strength have an impact, how will that be, let's say, explained to the player? So how will you explain it, or how will you show that if you have agility like 20 or 40, then you are this amount stealthier, and that's seen in real life? Will there be any kind of place to test that? Because, for example, if I put an arm and I have, strength plus 10, let's say, right? How is that, like, how I'm going to determine if I'm going to be seen closer or farther away?
That's a good question. So, to put bluntly, just through playing, you'll understand the difference. To put it, kind of textually in the UI of our inventory, you kind of can hover over your agility and strength and see if anything is going on, or being affected. Like if you get double jump, it'll say double jump. If you hover over your agility and it's really high. So multiple ways. We aren't trying to hide any of that, but we also, so if you do put on a very high agility arm, it will be like, oh, okay, now your agility is, 44. So now you can do double jump, even though it's an arm that you put on. Still your general basic agility. But yeah, and then that's another difference we do have, is your arm strength and agility does change different things than your leg strength and agility. Like your leg strength and agility is speed, movement, quietness. Your arms is how well you handle a weapon or a melee item, or moving the physical objects in your world.
Right, so it's based on reality. Like you wouldn't just be able to jump higher if you have a higher agility arm, right?
No, but you can like grab ledges if you have a high agility arm now.
Right, yeah, because that's okay. So tell me a little bit about because I've seen in hovering over strength, it says damage resistance, and I'm thinking, will there be multiple types of damage that you can take, and will you have to maybe take that into account and maybe equip yourself different in specific scenarios?
We don't have different elements or element resistance. Our damage resistance is based on kind of if it's physical or ranged, or I guess melee or ranged damage. That's kind of the different elements that we take in for damage consideration. So you can kind of build what's the word I'm looking for? You can kind of get higher tech items, and they might be better for bullets, or you get thicker items, and they might be better for being punched or swiped at.
Right. And how many robots will like punch you? I mean, just giving a scenario, right? And just tell me how you're thinking that the AI would work. So let's say you walk around, you're not so stealthy, you just whatever, and you just walk around, and a drone sees you, a carry drone, something that just delivers pizzas to the fat people in the houses, and that you said that would not hurt you specifically, right? Because it can't physically, right? It would just maybe bump into you to hurt you. So it goes and it alerts others, right?
Mhm.
How will that scale? Like, if you are, fighting 2 robots, 3 robots, will more and more come into you based on, kind of word of mouth between the robots? Like, oh, there's a situation here. Are you going to be swarmed if you're not careful?
Yeah, so we took a lot of inspiration from Left 4 Dead in a they have it has a like have a mob mentality. And so in the full game, we only have one enemy in the demo right now. In the full game, we have
Mhm.
a mob mentality. So if there's one or two, they're scattered around, and not our enemy spawning isn't static. It's not like you walk in and that enemy's always going to spawn there. It's depending on your location and
Right.
how loud you're being in the city. So if you're being clunky and loud in the city, for a good amount of time in open space, you're going to start seeing a lot more enemies coming around the corners of the streets around you, coming after you. If you're being kind of, you have the high agility, figuring out the ways around the main routes, and you're going down the alleys, you're going to see some like roaming, but they're not specifically that many, and they're not, looking your way.
Right. So it matters how you go about maneuvering through the city,
Yeah,
walking
so if
or
I if I play a
searching.
certain level, I might be getting 15 enemies just like running down a street towards me, and that is horrifying, and I'm just gonna
Mm.
sprint away. But if my friend plays a level, he might have different parts than I do. He might have gotten to that level differently. He's gonna be seeing one or two kind of scattered and just doing their own thing.
And will that, let's say, carry over, like from one area to another? So, for example, if you cause a ruckus and you do a lot of damage and maybe destroy a lot of stuff, will there be a bigger presence of, let's say, security bots, or will they be, or the robots in general, will they be more alert in other areas of the city?
Yeah, that's a good question. The alertness, that would depend on the robot, which scales the further you get into the game, because
Mm-hmm.
it'll scale to you. The amount, yes, the amount does scale. You as a player have a unseen, kind of hidden, kind of chaos number, we'll say, like amount of chaos you kind of cause in the city, and that will bring over, and that amount of chaos that you kind of caused in the level before will maybe be like, hey, these 5 robots heard what you were doing way down there. They're on their way to you. So as you're progressing through the level, now you see them. So yeah, so we'll progress and carry over.
Okay, that's interesting, because that would maybe suggest that if you take a more peaceful path, you can have an easier job, progressing through the next levels. So that's
Hmm.
it's not probably not. Well, actually, no, because I really like stealth, but I end up killing everyone, so that's kind of weird. But one by
Yeah,
one,
you
so
don't have to
that's
stealth. It could be
that.
easier to be louder because you built yourself
Mhm.
to take better punches and to have a better weapon. So it could be easier for you to be loud and let them all come to you. Um, and it could be harder for you to climb up the wall and find the secrets. It's up to you.
So can you be kind of like, so in terms of super stealthiness, let's say,
Hmm.
what would be kind of the peak? Could you literally just come up to robots behind them with super high agility and everything, and just, I don't know, stab them and they're dead? Are you going to be, could you be that efficient, or will you never be, if you get close enough, they will notice that there's something around them?
It would depend on the robot, but because different robots have different sensors, different
Mm-hmm.
visibility. But peak stealth would be not to kill. Would be you would go through the level avoiding every robot, letting them be their own and do their own thing. That would be peak stealth. Always killing and destroying
Right.
something causes noise. It might cause an alarm. Um, which you would know. You would see it on the robot if he would give an alarm if turned off or
Mhm.
deactivated.
Oh,
But
and
yeah,
can you
so peak would be
deactivate?
well, deactivate in the sense of being destroyed. But yeah, yeah, you could. We have a
Oh,
weapon mod that is like electrical, so it doesn't cause like parts to fly off and debris everywhere. It just causes them to be deactivated, to be done. You know, you fried whatever's inside them.
Right. Oh, and that's awesome because who doesn't love an EMP pulse?
Yeah, but be
Oh
careful
no,
with that
sorry,
because
EMP
they're
because
also
pulses. I mean,
yeah.
no, I'm just gonna throw it. I'm just gonna throw it like far, far away. You know, I'm gonna
There you
deactivate
go.
4 robots, and I'm just gonna, see what parts. It's gonna be like, like a used car part shop or
Yeah,
something. And be like, oh, let's see what we can take from here.
yeah, but that's the thing with the an EMP and kind of like a shock weapon is it does kind of fry the parts that you want.
Oh, really? That will that actually happen?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, okay. So
attacking
that's
a robot, you will attack it differently. If you're like, hey, he's got, look at that gold-plated arm. I want that. I'm gonna, try to destroy him by shooting his legs off or something, or aiming for the head specifically so I don't damage that arm. But the
also it.
electrical weapons, they're
Yeah, so
more
good.
like scattered and you can't really do focus fire. They do well and do a lot of damage, but you can't really focus fire them. They'll just destroy the bot.
So you can be very precise when it comes to the damage. So you can, like based on where you shoot, you're gonna damage that specific part of a robot. It's like is it like
Yes,
how was there was that game?
it's
How was it called? Something Soldier. I don't know. It was like where you could blow up like your characters in like 120 pieces, and you can see like their eyes pop out and something. There was something Soldier. I don't remember. Just it's 99, 2000, something like that. So you can be
yeah,
that
yeah.
specific.
You can be that specific. There is a environmental aspect. Some of the robots, already, they're going to be there in your game already with damaged limbs. So that's kind of an unluckiness.
Hmm.
And some of it will just be kind of luck based. You might hit him in his head, but if you've got like a rocket or if you've got, something that does spread, then you might clip the arm. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it
Is it?
is limb specific.
Hmm. Okay, that's really cool actually, because you can, depending on what you. I mean, if there's gonna be that clear of a difference, right, of the parts that they have, then you can go part shopping like that, and maybe just kill only the robots you want parts from, which
Yeah,
would
yeah.
limit the chaos and so on, and make it easier, and you could be more precise like that, and I really like that idea. I thought that
Yeah,
I thought it was randomized. Like for example, if you kill a police cop or like a police drone or something or robot, you would there's X amount of chance to get an arm or his leg or something.
yeah, yeah. In the demo, we have it like that because it is a gameplay aspect that we're like really need to nail down. Because I feel like,
Right.
because for me as a player, I really like that idea too, and I want that to be good.
Hmm.
So we didn't have time to put that in the demo. So yes, in the demo it is pretty close to randomized. We do have the kind of limb damage in there, but it doesn't take much effect. But yes, right now we do have a pretty good feeling and because that's hard to kind of nail down. Shooting him in the leg,
Hmm.
right leg. Okay, does he want the right leg? Well, now it's damaged. Damaged by how much? And then without having that like
Right.
having that plus 10 other robots, without having that overwhelm the player or even overwhelm your computer. It was a
Hmm.
lot of fun to work on.
Well, that's optimization is a it's like karma. It's a biatch, but it's important. Very good question here from Boyd, who also asked you how can he work with you. So I'm guessing maybe if you give out your maybe your social media ways to contact,
Oh yeah, he can go to
that's gonna be at yeah.
untitledstudios.com and then there's a contact page on there.
Okay, so that's the direct way to contact you. And he
Yeah.
asked, will there be legendary parts, body parts that have two ways to use them? For example, an arm that can be turned into a sword. Huh? Oh,
Oh,
like a hmm.
that is a good idea. Right now on the current playthrough of the game, we don't have like weaponized body parts. We do have weapon highlight body parts. Like you can get an arm that knows like the arm itself was built to use a rocket launcher. So if you use a rocket launcher
Mm.
with that arm, you're gonna do, have better accuracy, faster reload time, stuff like that.
Wow. So what type of robot would have that? Like a military robot?
Yeah,
Like a high grade?
very specific, high grade. You went into the robot testing facility, or you put the pieces together yourself.
So wait, how can you put the pieces together? Like you can actually. No, because that sounds super complex. That's why I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
wait, you can't just take an arm?
So we simplified it a lot. There are
Mhm.
high grade body parts that act kind of like weapons where you can add a modification to them. So you can get a
Okay.
right arm that has 2 mod slots, and both of those mod slots I want to be rocket launcher reload speed and rocket launcher accuracy.
Huh. Wow. So it'll be weapon. It can be weapon specific, depending on what you like
Yeah, if you want.
to
Or it
use.
could be playstyle specific, so you move quieter or you move louder, or just you take more to go down. Or you can double jump faster and stuff like that.
Hmm. So when it comes to actual movement, because you said is there going to be any? There's no battery, right? Per se,
No.
for
Yeah, to moving,
for
you have
you
no
as.
limitations. There's no recharging on your moving. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I can run through the whole level and not be like
Yeah, there's no stamina.
Okay, good. That's good. Finally a game where you don't have like a stupid reason. Well, usually you're a human, right? But sometimes you play a robot and it's like, oh, you have stamina. It's like, wait, what? I'm a robot and I have stamina. That's kind of dumb. But anyway,
Yeah.
what can you do? Some things like that. When you start with a little, with a I guess small life, health probably. Can you charge it from a special terminal, or something similar, or do you have to just swap parts to increase your health?
Health, there is robot repair kits, and they
Hmm.
have kind of like amounts. So if I get a robot repair kit that has 12, it heals your 12 health. Um, so there's that to healing. Batteries for weapons do have recharge stations though.
Oh, okay.
So
And is
that
that gonna be
allows
like
for
a big problem, like finding a recharge station?
no and yes. It allowed us to kind of have more fun with making more crazier and heavier impact weapons because they have the limitation of batteries. Um,
Mm,
and we don't give a lot of batteries because there's not a lot of story wise. There's not a lot of military in the city. There wasn't. It's not like
right.
a military coup happened. But and so there's not a lot of batteries. So to kind of counteract that, we provided throughout the city recharge stations for drones that you can put your battery into.
Hmm.
And
Okay. That
yeah, but you can't like recharge it on your own. If that makes sense. Like on your person, it's
right.
something that you need to go to, and so that would be a limitation to using your weapon a lot. But like I said before,
Hmm.
that allowed us to give you crazy black hole weapon mods and stuff like that. Have more fun with the weapons.
Yeah, you can just make one black hole and that's it. Like you
Yeah,
can have it, but you can only make one.
it might kill everything
'Cause,
there, but you're done now.
well, yeah, but
Go recharge.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
And
it's not
so in our
gonna.
play testing, we had people just like sit next to the recharge station, shoot, go recharge, shoot, go recharge. I was like,
Right, right,
okay,
right.
if you guys
Well,
want, you can.
I guess
So
that.
we had to place them
Yeah.
strategically.
Well, it's free energy, so. Uh, it's
Yeah.
so. Sarah asked, "Can you carry your repair kit?" So I think that's true. You can have right repair kits on your
Yes, you can.
character
Yeah,
because
they're
I
in the
think you can pick
demo.
up. Yeah,
You
self
can pick
repair
up the
kits. Yeah.
repair kits. You can carry them. You can have multiple. Each repair kit has its own kind of quantity, like I said, amount.
Hmm.
In the demo, I think they're all based to have a certain amount because we realized a lot of people that weren't familiar, like with their first playthrough of the demo, it was kind of hard. They didn't know what the enemy was, so we just gave a pretty good amount of healing on the self repair kit.
Hmm. So wait to ask, you as a robot have a battery. Will it have to be recharged after a while or stay permanently full? So you, in terms of your character functioning, you don't need energy. The only
No,
energy you're going to use is for weapons. That's
it's for weapons.
hopefully, yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So that's hopefully clear, because people have health and stamina and shit, but not robots. Well, robots have health, I guess, too, depending on the parts, which is pretty cool because I just found a 0030 arm, which is very rare. Has
Ooh,
high agility,
nice.
pretty good strength, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So. Will there be any color coating, something to make it a bit more flashy, as to
Yeah,
oh, this part is like really good.
yeah. We for the base game right now, a big difference from the demo is a huge category system. So icons for each category that helps you sort everything that's in your inventory. Because I know the demo, your inventory is pretty basic. It's you can only hold 20, and you have to kind of read what they are to understand. And so we did work a lot
Hmm.
on a category system to make everything like, so if it's a battery, from the icon it is a battery. And then the color code, we do have a color code for nicer and better items in your inventory.
So it's just like Diablo, except, well, dystopian robots and stuff.
Yeah.
Seriously, Diablo that game really created a monster with
That
that. It's like,
color
yay,
code.
loot, and you get you get a
So
billion
now,
items of
yeah,
a billion colors.
now we got
You gotta
everything
have
like
them
that.
now. Yeah, you know what? It works, I guess. You just have
It
to
works.
understand
It does
the
work.
colors.
It just
Yeah,
doesn't work when
so
you have all
that's
the
true.
games have the same color code, and then that
Yeah.
one game doesn't have the same color code. You're like, what?
Oh, you can't have. Every single game has to have its own color code and has to be totally different from the others, because you don't want to copy, obviously.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if the player's going to be confused, it's the player's fault. Not it's not a design problem. It's the player's fault, obviously. So let's talk a little bit about the visuals, because I mean, it is one thing that attracted me to Grayscale, but it kind of feels like it's in a very kind of rough, obviously,
Hmm.
demo
Hmm.
state. So what can we expect in terms of the visuals?
So the
How is it
demo,
all just going to be foggy and gloomy, or can we see it's going to be like lights, like New Tokyo type of stuff, or is it just Yorkshire version? I don't know, 22,
yeah.
24.
So it's not cyberpunk. It's not Tokyo, Beijing style neon colors. It
Mm-hmm.
is that Yorkshire Victorian throughout. That's the architecture we chose and the feel we chose. Um, uh, but yeah, from the graphical standpoint, the demo was big in just tone. We wanted people to play the demo and understand what we were going for, and not exactly what exactly the game is, what precisely the game
Mm-hmm.
is. And so graphically going ahead, it's pretty similar in the look for the mood. You get the same mood, you get the same tone, but we do have a change in scenery a lot. We have different parts of the city you're in. In the demo, you're in basically an apartment, and then you're in the streets near that apartment, which is kind of like Old Town, and that's all you see. So I understand like that's kind of what the feeling you get. But you go all over the
Mm-hmm.
city in the full game. You go into downtown, you go into the nice places, you go into the tech center, you go underground, and each one has its own kind of style and mood to it. And some places might feel more comfortable than others, and maybe that's a good thing or not. And but your ultimate goal is to get out of the city. So what
Mm.
is outside the city? Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah, maybe.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
I would guess I would, yeah, maybe freedom. That would be my first guess. So, I mean, for a robot, I don't know, some puppies I can cuddle with. I don't know. Oh, another question. Will there be a? Sorry, go ahead. Tell me.
Oh, no, no, no. I was just saying it'd be funny if at the end of the game you just get a million puppies.
Well, just come on, you don't have to exaggerate. Just like get one, and you'll be like that'll be the only cinematic moment in the game where you kind of come out and it's like I don't know, it's bright and lovely, and the sun is shining on you, and then a little puppy comes up to you, and the robot just brings it up and looks at it, kind of confused a little bit because it never seen maybe a real puppy, and then the puppy just licks its face, like obviously battered face, and that's how and everyone would be like, "Aww," and that's how it ends. That's just an idea. Will there be a boss in the game, and will you? Will you have weapon skins? I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna assume that there are not gonna be any weapon skins because you don't want Clown Fiesta.
Yeah, we don't have Clown Fiesta. We don't have weapon skins. The weapons look differently depending on kind of their basis. So a rifle will look like a rifle, and we want the player to know that when they see something on the floor, what it is, after they've seen it before. Bosses, yeah, I'm a big fan of, the Bowser fight in Luigi's Mansion, and so yes, we will have boss fights, but a big thing, design choice going into the boss fights was, I want to keep that theme of, you beat the boss how you want to. So it's not, you don't just have to aim at the bright parts on his body. You could have sabotaged it maybe before the boss fight started.
I gotta say, I'm sorry, but I can't wait. In a few months, we're gonna give an interview to Polygon, which they don't really cover games, but it's fine. They'll, it's a big magazine, and that's gonna be awesome, and you'll be like, well, yes, in this dystopian sci-fi world, one of the bosses is inspired by Luigi's Mansion. I can't wait for that line, really. I can't wait to read that line. Seriously, that would be one reason to read Polygon, for that line.
Dystopian game inspired by Luigi's Mansion? Question mark.
Yeah, you know what? That's you got to sell it somehow. So why not? That could work. That should be fine. Very good question from Sarah. Can you get different visions, like infrared, night vision, etc.?
That is a very good question. Yes, you can. You can change your visual peripherals as a robot in the base game. That was actually recently added, working on it, so it's not in the demo. But yeah, right now we do have infrared, night vision. It's different filters. So I like Easter eggs. So there's a lot of them in Grayscale. So there is a visual filter that you can put on your eyes that doesn't change anything, but now you can see maybe some strange graffiti on the wall or something like this.
Huh. Oh, so they live right? They live type of vision, glasses or eyes or something like that. Come on, you have to have that.
Yeah.
Okay, for everyone who's younger, you have to see They Live. It's the acting is awful, pretty much, because they're not actually actors playing in it. But the movie is a classic, and it's amazing, and it will show you how the world is probably going to be, without needing aliens or anything like that. But it's amazing. They Live is an amazing movie. I can't believe it was made in the 80s, or I think it was in the 80s, because it's like it was way too ahead of its time. It's unbelievable. But yeah, it would be cool to have something like that, and you just take a different pair of eyes, and it's like obey.
Well, I'm glad you brought They Live up, because it's John Carpenter, and I love all his movies, and Grayscale definitely has inspirations from him.
Well, from The Thing, maybe. Probably that's
The Thing.
I'm guessing that's the one. Yeah, that is a classic. That's for sure. Can you have co-op pop in the game?
Co-op? We don't have co-op.
Any plans, or is it going to stay
no plans for co-op? I do really like split screen, so that is a big thought going into the game. Was if we were going to add split screen or co-op into it. I wouldn't say never. I would very much like to do co-op. But right now, currently, how we're designing it and making it, there's no co-op in it right now.
But
I'm not gonna lie and say there's not plans. I'm a big fan of co-op and split screenplay.
Okay, so initial release single player. Afterwards, when Epic Games helps you with like $100,000 or $500,000, then you're gonna
Throw
add.
the co-op. Yeah.
Okay, I mean that sounds fair. It's like that sounds good. Tell me a little bit about the audio part, which it's not really like a big thing in the demo, I think, but I think it would be, well, it's obviously a very important element, right? Because it sets the mood, the tempo, it gets your heart pumping.
Yeah.
So what are you planning
Yeah, well,
for, the audio line?
On the prologue of the demo, we focused a lot on the audio because it's just text, and we wanted you to, because we have the whole prologue that's going on, and we have like water in the background and some other little noises that kind of just like are faint, because audio is a big part of memory. You remember a lot of things you hear, probably if not the same amount more than what you remember visually. And so so for a lot for that the prologue, we worked on a lot of the audio. In the actual demo itself, we have a decent amount of audio that we had to work on and tweak, like with the sound effects of the city and the ambiance. We have a really fun feature in the demo that is ambient audio, which is like whatever you're doing, we have audio that kind of like seeps into your headset if you're wearing headphones according to what you're doing. So if you're exploring a lot, we have like that kind of exploration tone. But if you see the bad guy right off the bat, we have a more intense tone. And also, I think for the main game, we're working a lot on, because we are kind of limited as the team, we are using and utilizing audio to make the game world feel bigger, kind of. Like so in the demo, you can see like there's a window that you can get next to that you hear stuff going on the other side, and I enjoy that because it feels like there's more stuff going on the other side, when realistically, from a game point perspective, there isn't, but you might be able to get back there, and I like that, using the audio to play around.
What's with the arts, though? What's with the engraved arts? Like,
on the walls?
Like Easter eggs? Well, everything in it.
Yes and no. I mean, we have like the phones and the laptops that you can read messages or a variety of things on. I like art, and so I threw in, I think, 2 or 3 pieces of art in the demo, and I feel like they pop out more when you can interact with them. So I have like poems or engravings on the art that you can read and look at. And so I guess that's why I threw it in.
So how much of the world will you discover or find out about through the elements, like through like someone's apartment and what they have in it, or emails, or I don't know, like a paper flowing in the wind and you just, let's say, happen to catch it or something like that? Is that like a big thing to kind of tell the player what's going on or what has been going on in the world? Yes,
very much. The learning the story and the background and the history of the city and of why you're made is a very much give and take. How much the player's willing to learn, they will learn. But if you want to play the game and just figure out the main story, which is how do I get out, or what's attracting, what's pulling me deeper into the city, then you can figure out that way without reading and looking at all the aspects of this world that you're in. But if you do happen, to go and read the phones, the yellow that's all around, the laptops, you will get a deeper understanding of, okay, that's how this city's working, and that's why the city was made, and that's, where I am now, if you start piecing it together.
Yeah, I'm gonna have like a book. It's like, wait, actually that's a good idea, because it's a joke like with the physical thing, but will you have some sort of maybe like a journal where the notes that you find are maybe kind of archived in some way, because you are a robot, so you can just kind of take a picture and kind of store it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, in the final game we have a log that is part of your inventory
Hmm.
that you can go to, and it just has the list of everything you have read to reread if you want. Yes.
Wow. Oh, that'll be useful to, to get a better sense of the story. If you go and play now and then play another time, and like, oh, I remember that. It's from that element. So, because I think that's very important to have a lot of, small things. Not see that's all the whole thing. Not big things, small things that
Hmm.
suggest to you, oh, there were people living here, or there was this person who was, I don't know, who died very young here, or there was a riot here, and all of those things that you know make you attached to the world, right? Because you start in it in any game, right? You don't know anything about it, and to me that's not only fascinating, intriguing, but I search for that in games, ways to find out more about the world and how it existed before I got there. So that's really I like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
like
so
that
do I.
element in any game. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about technology a little bit. So, what engine are you using for Grayscale, and why did you make that choice?
The current demo and the current final product is in Unity, which everybody knows and loves. The early version,
Well,
we were gonna make it in
loves.
Unreal. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just
Uh,
saying, like, loves. Some things may have changed
right.
in the last 24 hours. Let's say
Oh,
it's
oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the
yeah,
yeah. All right, which
yeah,
everybody
improbable
knows.
and
We'll go with that
spatialist.
word. We'll go with that word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So we originally gonna make everything, do everything in Unreal Engine, and then just from the team coming together and the people we started working with, Unity just seemed to pop out more as, most people
Mm-hmm.
learn in it and then they switch to something else and then they come back to it. So we came back to Unity
Mm-hmm.
to make the final product, and so yeah, so we are working in Unity right now. I love it. I've used it most of my projects, and they're really good with feedback. Because so many people use Unity
Mm-hmm.
and how open it is. You get a lot of good, like, why the heck is this engine doing this? And then within 30 seconds, you figure out your answer. And that's the thing that I missed about Unity when I was working with Unreal Engine, as I really like Unreal Engine, and it's really good for a
Mm-hmm.
project like Grayscale. It's just, when we're looking to expand our team, there were kind of less people that had this kind of
Less
creative and
knowledge.
open,
Mm.
yeah, knowledge to Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so we swapped over to Unity to be kind of, just because we are an indie studio, we have to be flexible with
Mm-hmm.
what the world is thrown at us. And so we decided to go with Unity because of that.
All right. Okay, which makes sense. You go with what you know, because that will allow you to make the best product, really.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because especially as an indie game, you can't as an indie developer, you don't really have the luxury, financial luxury, right, to stay and
Yeah.
learn something and build a team and get everyone up to par with at a certain level with a certain engine, right? It's like if anyone knows Unity here, then yeah, that's a really great starting point. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
exactly.
So is there any anything custom, anything that you had to push the engine, you had to make yourself, any you know
With
extra
the, yeah,
coding?
the big one that I'm proud of is we didn't like the post-processing stack that Unity has. We don't like I didn't enjoy the features and the how limited its post-processing on the camera was. And so we wrote the entire module for that and it turned out really well, which I was like, kind of, that was my biggest worry going into this project was, we're going to rewrite it and make something that looks like, Paper Mario. But we didn't. And it turned out, so that is, yeah, that was our big module that we added for Grayscale. And, and I enjoyed working on that a lot. Um, Another one was the inventory system. In the demo, it's not in that, but totally redid our own inventory system, and kind of kind of to be like a hybrid between like Skyrim and what's another example? The new Prey that came out. I really liked its inventory system, so we worked on and made our own, and that turned out really well. Because I did not like how the demo's inventory worked when you like went deeper and more hours into the game, and you just started getting full of stuff and wanted to organize it all.
Right. Right. So just to make it easier to find the stuff around and compare and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that would be a big thing, I guess. Finding so many things, because obviously limited inventory, right? You can't carry 1 billion items with you. That's physically impossible. So choose what you can carry or not. What to swap, right? That's
and be able to find
anything on terms of like visually, like you're gonna bring out Vulkan or something crazy like that? Are you going on that route to kind of maybe impress people with, oh, this is a full DirectX 12 game and you can only play it if you have Windows 10 or something?
No, opposite. I want to make it as optimized for everything as possible. I want it to look the best and be able to play on a phone, even though I don't want to port it on a phone. I want it to be that optimized. And so that's what we're working on. That's been our biggest hurdle this past month, was have everything we need in it and have it play on everything we want it to play on. So yeah. Ultimately, we wanted to play on Mac, Windows, and even Linux, and try to put as many things as we can. Steam, itch.io, Unreal Store. Now that they're up, make it as accessible as possible. Because why not?
Yeah, come on. You can admit it. You want it on the Switch. You can admit. Come on. Like, just between us. Yeah. Just between us. You love Luigi's Mansion. You love Nintendo. You want it on the Switch too. Which is nothing wrong. That's another platform.
Weird game on the Switch. Yeah, maybe. I thought about that. It's an interesting Switch game.
You know what? I mean, I think the install base would embrace it.
Yeah.
Exactly because of that reason. Because it's something that's more mature, more broody, more serious than anything else, and it's not like it doesn't have only be Mario or Mario Kart or anything like that, or Zelda. So I think more mature games have a place on depending on what Nintendo approves, obviously, because they have all the power. But it would be cool. I think it would have a place there. But are you thinking of something more obvious? Consoles, other consoles, Xbox, PlayStation 4.
Yeah, hopefully PlayStation and Xbox. That's a big. We're in talks with a few publishers, and publishers have their own reasons to be or not be on consoles, and so that so that's very much up in the air.
Okay, so tell me about the demo, right? Because it's been out for a while. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed by every single YouTuber who goes on itch.io and searches for games and makes videos, and you make videos of the shittiest, the crappiest, absolutely garbage, really garbage horror shitty games ever, and you make like fucking 40 videos, and you have Grayscale, and the game does not have like 3 pages full of videos made. So, how was demo feedback? I'm sorry. That was a personal thing for me, because that's something that I see a lot, and it doesn't really bother me that much. It's funny because that's how you see people who don't care about the games so much, because it's like, oh, what would give me clicks? Oh, this crappy horror game that has one crappy jump scare with the one polygon ghost.
Yeah.
Sorry?
The Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's like that. Oh yeah, exactly. And you can make a thumbnail where you act like all shocked, and that will get instant clicks, even from from anyone, from usually younger audience. But how was Grayscale like received in general with the demo?
Yeah, so
and why did you put the demo out? Like, what? Hmm.
has been, so we've had the demo done for a while, for a few months now, and we're hesitant on putting it publicly just because we're still heavily working on it and totally understand the simplicity of the demo that is different from what we're making and working on right now. And so, but putting it publicly, just because we kind of exhausted our testers and ourselves in everything. If that makes sense, just because they've been testing it for so long and playing it and
Hmm.
asking crazy
You
amount
know
of
it too
people.
well.
Yeah, so I think putting it up
Hmm.
on HIO and GameJolt and all those sites was a big just like, hey, like, what do you think? Like, just play it, and what are your thoughts on it? And from that, we've gotten really good feedback. But another like side effect of that is we're not really like marketing or publishing. Hey, we have this demo out. We just threw it up there, and then to other people that we talked to, were like, oh yeah, go check out the demo. And so it's not
Hmm.
as much as I feel like you said, as it should be, honestly. And but I think that's okay for where the stage is at now, because it's still, the demo is a sliver of what the game is. And so down the road we will, crank out another awesome demo that has more of the features that we keep talking about, and push
Yeah,
that one up.
I think it shows its potential, really. Like the
Yeah.
it shows maybe the intention and the potential of the game, basically, like your intentions with the game and the potential of the game. And I don't think that's a bad thing to have, out in the world, for to build an audience and a community around it.
Hmm.
Did you take
Yeah,
it
that's a
anywhere?
good
Like,
point.
did you take it
Uh,
anywhere? Like, any? Sorry.
we use now the itch.io site um, to show our publishers, or the potential publishers that are interested in it, and that was a big positive. So even so showing it around and putting it on our website and stuff, and because beforehand we had, hey, we have Grayscale, here's the gameplay, here's the story text, here's the images from it. um, wasn't isn't as impactful as being like, yo, the demo's public and free, go play it right now. Tell me how you think of it.
Hmm. And is
Yeah.
that
So that,
like, can you maybe tease the publisher interest? Is there are we gonna see Activision Blizzard sign you now that they are parting ways with Activision, with Bungie?
no,
Sorry.
no, no. Oh no, we have a few interested indie publishers that, it's always crossing your fingers, until you sign a uh,
Hmm.
a long-term contract. It's always crossing your fingers, and so constantly
Hmm.
like trying to impress. So we're like, here's the itch.io, here's the demo. Okay, here's another playable. Here's more information, and we're constantly cranking that out until something clings. So I think that was another uh, reason of the demo, and why I wanted to. I'm going out and trying to get people to blog about it and interview about it and discuss about it, just to get that initial interest and be like, hey, there is potential here. We are interested.
So, in terms of the vision for bring it it out. Sorry, it's late. It's late here. It's a lot later here than where you are. Um,
Yep.
do you have a date in plan? Well, or a time in plan? It's going to be like 2020 or 2021 or anything
Um,
like that. Do you have,
we
we
have
have
an
to make it
eyeball.
before X. Mm.
Yeah. So we're planning on releasing a free, strong showcase. So you can call it a demo in the middle of summer, and
Mm-hmm.
that to just kind of be that one, be our flag that we wave. Hey, look at this, is Grayscale. Even though I'm super proud of the demo that's on itch.io, but that was finished about a year ago. So this next demo is showing our year in
Really?
progress, and yeah, I'm being like, hey,
Wow.
this is how much we've done so far. Like, wow. And yeah, and so that is the only kind of plan right now. It's summer. We have a lot of the game done. It just takes we're developers. We're not really good at publishing, so that's why we went out to look for the publisher interest.
Mhm. Now, I know that the itch.io page you have options for financial support. People can. There's a $10 tier and a $25 tier. The $25 being, the full game being given upon release. Are you thinking of maybe crowdfunding with maybe
Yeah,
the
that's been a
summer?
thought. The thought has been if our interest backs out, we would crowdfund when we release the big our better updated demo. So yeah,
Hmm.
so there is serious thought behind that. The team behind Grayscale absolutely loves Grayscale. Each one of us just love the story. We want to make it happen, whatever means possible. And if that means going into crowdsourcing, heck yeah, we're gonna go crowdsourcing 100%.
Hmm. But right now, a publisher would be like your first option. But if that
Yeah,
doesn't pan out
right.
until, Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, right now because of the interest, because of who we're talking to at this moment, we can't go to crowdsourcing yet until
Right.
until all parties interested are like, nope, we're gonna back away and stay away from this.
Mhm. And well, this is kind of, well, maybe you're gonna tell me, right? Like maybe in advance, you're like, oh, we're gonna launch a Kickstarter on the 20th of August or something like that. So
Yeah,
you're gonna announce that if that okay,
yeah. If
like
that
when
happens,
that
we'll
happens.
definitely reach out to you and everybody, and it'll be fun. Make it fun and be able to showcase our new demo and all of the new art and the new stills that we can share from the full game.
Hmm. Okay, so the new demo, what's the plan in terms of the content for that? What are you? How much are you showing in
Uh,
that?
right now, we're gonna clip the kind of beginning segment of the full game. So,
Mm-hmm.
this demo is kind of pieces out of our game. Makes sense. They're not like,
Mm-hmm.
for the apartment to when you're in the city don't go together completely in the full game.
Right.
So this
Right.
demo is going to be like, all right, here's the first, hour, and people will understand. Okay, I can play this demo a few different times and get different things out of it. Or okay, I like the beginning hooks me in. I'm into the story now. I want to play more. Uh, so yeah, it'll be a pretty standard uh, demo.
Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be kind of a full slice, right, of the game, just the beginning part, and you're gonna have a connection between everything. So it's not gonna be like, oh, this part, and then you're gonna jump to something else.
Yeah, everything will flow together. Like in our demo right now, we
Mm-hmm.
have gameplay aspects that weren't completed at the time. So like, like just killing the enemy, they just explode and you have that yellow thing there. And that is like completely not how we have it now.
Right.
And there are little things in the demo that are like that. They're like, oh, we need to get this demo out, but we don't have every little bit of the gameplay completely fine-tuned. And then so the upcoming demo in the summer is going to be here's a slice of the full game. Everything you see is what you get.
Right. So, can you maybe tell us why? So, if you had this demo for a year,
Mhm.
can you say why you kind of kept it until? Because it was what released in December, I think, right, on itch.io.
Yeah, yeah. We kept it from public view. We had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
if people showed interest, we would send them the download link. And that was the
Mm-hmm.
way we got some publishers hooked to us because we sent them that download link. And then just time kept going on, and we started working on like the better demo, and we were kind of wrapping up a lot of gameplay aspects on the full game. That just some things were kind of like, does this work? We don't know. We need more people. We need more feedback. So
Mm-hmm.
on the demo, a lot of the things that we did polish in it, like the mood and the tone and some of the puzzles and the story, are like, okay, like give us your feedback. Does this work? Do you enjoy this? Is this something that you are kind of hooked in, or is this something you're like, I'm a robot, I don't care what's going on, And then
Right.
so that we don't reach the end of our game right now and be like, oh no, we're getting the feedback in now, change some things.
Yeah, you want to get early. Like, look at this. are you going to pay $60 for this? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
never mind. Never mind. A good question from Sarah. Do you have a mailing list? Anything where people can get maybe constant info about what your plans are?
Yeah, we a big news source that we're gonna start updating a lot more is our itch.io site and our GameJolt site.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to those links, and they have a way of following the game. That's the best way to get news and information. We always update our website, fatalstudios.com. We have a blog on there that is starting to get into Grayscale. It was working with our other mobile games and Cookie Cruncher beforehand. And so I'd say your best bet is itch.io or GameJolt.
Right. So and Sarah, there's a link in the description below to the itch.io page because we always provide that. And one thing that I gotta say, the Twitter link leads to Cookie Cruncher, from your site. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I was just thinking that it would just like be an official like Fatal Studios, Twitter handle.
Yeah, we had a lot of that come in, being like, "Hey, your Twitter is a Cookie Cruncher account," and right now, we have just the social media is still pumping out for Cookie Cruncher, and we don't really have a lot for Grayscale because this demo wasn't really like a big like, all right, we're gonna release a demo. It was like, let's release the demo and just get feedback from it and see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in the future, Grayscale the game. No, Grayscale official or something like that.
Yeah.
On Twitter or but the best itch.io or GameJolt, at least itch.io, it's linked. I actually didn't look on GameJolt, so that's my fault. I didn't actually look to find it.
fatalstudios.itch.io/Grayscale.
Okay, so that's the link there if you wanna see updates or anything that's new on the game. So I don't know, anything you think you wanna cover? Anything that's missing? Anything you wanna say to people? Just want hugs.
I mean, we covered a lot that I think was important. You asked some good questions about the game. Go play it. It's free. Download it. Give us your feedback and show interest. We want to start getting the community interested in seeing the potential of Grayscale, because I know the team sees the potential, and it keeps us going every day, and we absolutely love this game.
So how big is the team right now at this moment in time? How big is
right
Fatal
now?
Studios?
We have 4 dedicated, and then we bring in 2 to 3 kind of part-time. Hey, we need help with this part. Come on in to the project. So 4 dedicated that work on it, and yeah. We have a writer. We have me. I'm a programmer. We have a graphic artist, and we have a Unity software developer.
Nice. That's a pretty good team because indie and everything is it's like, oh, it's just me and I do everything, kind of like that. So it's good to see bigger teams that because that's how you can make a bigger game. Which, speaking of which, how big do you think the game is going to be? What would you estimate in terms of playtime?
That is a good question. That's one that we're bouncing around. At the moment, I would say right now a solid. You give the game love. You read the things, you go through it at your pace. You could probably finish it in about 20 hours, but we bring in that sense of replayability.
Right. Oh, that sounds really good, actually. That really solid 20 hours of for a single player experience. Because it's like, oh, you want to play Prey? Oh yeah, it's 4 hours, 4.5. It's fine. It's good. You can love it. It's $60. $60. You want new skin? DLC $5. Fine. It's good. AAA gaming. Love it. Who wouldn't want to buy anything like that? I mean, really. So okay. So anything gaming that's not Grayscale? Are you playing anything? Are you looking for anything? Any title this year Do you have time for gaming?
Yeah, I'm as much as a developer as I am a player. I've been playing a lot of what you just mentioned, Prey right now. Actually, I just got Prey,
Mm-hmm.
and because I'm a big Dishonored fan, so I'm playing a lot of Prey. And what am I excited for about this year? Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of games that are hesitant of coming out this year, like Last of Us 2. I have no idea if it's coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Death Stranding.
I think it should be this year.
I think it should be. Death
Oh,
Stranding, they don't have a release date, but it should be this year.
right.
So a lot of things like
Yeah.
that. Other than that, not really.
Wait, did you just mention 2 console games and you're a
Yeah,
developer for a
I'm
PC
big,
game?
I'm a big
Come
PC
on!
gamer, but I have my PlayStation, and I love my PlayStation. And I love,
That's
they
fine, but
did
PC
one of
Master Race.
PC is great, but
Yeah.
PlayStation had an amazing year of 2018. So that's what dragged me in.
Oh, okay, that's fair. It's just one game that's also on the PC. Like, are you excited about
okay.
one game that comes out on the
that I
PC?
always come back to, and I think is one of the greatest games of all time, and needs more recognition, is RimWorld on the PC.
Really? Oh, okay. Rimmel,
Yeah.
yeah. Which got a little flack recently, I think. Well,
It
I think that was the
released in
game.
1.0. It released 1.0 recently, but it was in like early development for like 4 years. And that's a lot different than
Yeah.
any of the games I make. It's like top-down strategy,
Mm.
colony, survival, but it is so well done. And I gotta give that developer
Right.
props.
So after Grayscale, sorry, it's so super late and I haven't drunk anything and I've eaten an apple today. I'm not kidding. An apple and one piece of 85% cocoa fucking chocolate, which is awful. I no, come on. You know what? I can take 72% cocoa dark chocolate, but even 75, but over 75% I can't. It's just too bitter. Anyway, sorry. So after Grayscale, maybe City Builder?
Yeah. Maybe City Builder, maybe, a survival strategy game that we're already working on. Maybe. We'll see.
What? Wait. This is news to me. What is this? Wait. You said wait. You were like, yeah, we've been working for this idea for like 4 years. Then we made the Cookie Cruncher, which is really fun, and it's available on iOS. And so what do you mean? Are you working on another project right now with 4 people? What are you, like Superman? What's going on?
So yeah, we've had Grayscale in a pretty good position right now. Not finished, but in a very good position to showcase it. We had the demo, and then we're coming out with the newer demo this summer. But we've had that for a good amount of time, and so now we're just we can't finish it, or we want to finish it in a way where we need support to finish it. If that makes sense. Like we don't want it to be one of those hidden releases, and so we're just we're holding off there. So we're waiting for the summer to see how the publisher interest is right now. If that fades, we'll do crowdfunding, but we're constantly working on gameplay aspects. But we're gamers, and we love designing. We love doing what we're doing. So we can't have any downtime. And so we had an idea flown to us a couple months ago, and started working on that like 2 months ago.
Unbelievable. Seriously, this is the first time I hear about this. This is unbelievable. It's like, you think you know someone, and then they come out with like, oh yeah, we've been working on another project for like 2 months. Like, what? Okay, that's amazing. That's great. But I really hope you're gonna finish Grayscale, because I really want to play it. And after that, yeah, good. It's top priority. So come on, people with publishers, Tiny Build, I don't know, Raw Fury, I don't know, 505 Games. Come on, people. Come on, just.
Thank you.
I would feel better if I knew that you had, a deal with a publisher. Although there'd be like people like, oh no, publishers are bad. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, when your livelihood is on the line.
Yeah. Well, just because we love Grayscale so much, having a publisher or not having a publisher isn't the end all be all. Grayscale will come out one way or another, and it will be, it will be the game that we've been making it one way or another, whether it's crowdfunding, whether it's publishers, whether we just release it.
Okay, that's. Oh, I was going to say like, oh yeah, you're going to release it on Pirate Bay for free. You know, there was I don't know, there was if you remember, there was a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, 5, something like that. There was a developer who it was a game and they made it and it was pirated a lot, and he was like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna put it on Pirate Bay too, and then he released it. I think it was just a solo developer, and he released the game. I don't remember. And they released it on Pirate Bay too. Like they released it like on stores too, like on Steam I think and others, and then they released it on Pirate Bay too, I think. Something like that.
I think the game was called Darkwood or Welcome to Darkwood.
Maybe.
I think
I really don't remember the name. Yeah.
Because I remember, I know what you're talking about, and I thought that was pretty ballsy of them to.
I mean,
saw that they're
marketing.
Started a lot, and they're like, "Okay, pirates, you can have it."
Yeah, that's marketing right there. That's. I mean, because let's be honest, that was all. It was a PR push.
But they also promoted that their game was
anything.
on Pirate Bay. So I'm pretty sure more people were like, Steam or Pirate Bay.
Yeah. I'll give you some. Oh, come on, Jesus! Someone's being very naughty in the chat. Jesus Christ. Hey, so tell me a little bit about closing thoughts. Anything you want to tell people watching? You know, any weird. If Notch is looking, I don't know. You know, while swimming in his billions, like.
Oh,
what would you like him to hear?
Money.
Yeah, exactly. Minecraft. That's good. Good stuff.
That go play Grayscale. If you love it, support us. If you don't love it, tell me why, and we'll work on it. We're still working on it, and look for Grayscale in the future. As I'm very excited about it.
So basically, because from what I understand, I mean, you seem very, and that's a good thing, very confident and adamant about Grayscale, damn it, coming out. And I'm like, okay, so 2 things to remember. The future is female and Grayscale, right? That's pretty much it. Because those are 2 certainties at this point. Those are 2 certainties at this point, because I see the future is female everywhere, and now that you're telling me that it's definitely coming out, then that's our future. So yeah. Yeah. And then there's gonna be a porn parody called Grayscale because I say it way too many times. Well, you know what? I think it work. I mean, that's very progressive. I mean, this world of this world likes people of all shapes and sizes and sexual preferences. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. A robot can be gay. You know what? That's the thing. When you pitch it to other publishers or anything, say that, oh, by the way, the game is really cool and our character is gay. He's the first gay robot in the world. Done. And you're gonna have a deal. That's it. You're gonna have Waypoint is gonna write about you. You're gonna have like on Kotaku, on Polygon, Eurogamer. Everyone's like, Grayscale, the first game where you play a gay robot. And that's it. Marketing done. Like seriously, everyone will write and praise you. So that's it.
All right, thank you for that.
Well, what can I do? I'm a YouTuber, but I'm a marketer at heart, apparently. So everyone, you can check out Grayscale on itch.io and on GameJolt. I'm gonna put the link after this. I'm gonna put the link in the description. But right now, if you download it from itch.io, it's fine. It works. There are no bugs there. I tested that version. I re-downloaded it to see it. It works. It's fine. It's great. And leave some feedback. I think that's important. And of course, hopefully there's going to be a freaking Twitter handle that's not at Cookie Cruncher. Because it's cute, but it's like, wait. No, because you understand the contrast. The first thing when I saw it is like, wait.
You go from Grayscale to
Fatal Studios, and the handle is Cookie Cruncher? Like, wait. Like, Cookie and Fatal. How does that work? It's like, the contrast is amazing.
You gotta play Cookie Cruncher to find out.
No, you know what? If it's if it's on Android, I'm gonna play it because that's what I have.
It is.
So
Yeah.
is it? Oh, okay, okay, really? Okay, good. Okay, nice. Okay, I'm excited because it's. I knew it was on iOS. Okay, so you can play the precursor to Grayscale on itch.io. Oh, sorry, on iOS. What? You can say it. Why not?
The precursor to
It's,
Grayscale. Yeah. Crazily different
Yeah,
genre,
it's.
but sure, yeah. I'm okay with that.
I mean, you know what? That's how. That was the first thing that happened before the creation of the robot you play in Grayscale. The developer of the robot was eating cookies, and she was choking because it was a woman. Because this is very progressive, right? She was a woman and she was choking on the cookie, and she got like a vision just before. She thought she would die because she was choking. And she had the vision of this robot and how it would work, and she had like code like flashing in front of her eyes, and she didn't choke. She managed to swallow that cookie part, and then she wrote the code that would make the sentient robot that you play in Grayscale. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, in Cookie Cruncher, you can get a robotic jaw to eat the cookies better. So maybe.
Oh, link confirmed. So everyone, that was I guess that was the interview for now, because it's I think we've done like 2 hours, so that's a lot.
Thank you.
I know you can stay for another 5, but hopefully everyone enjoyed it and you got enough information. Get the special edition. No, there's no special edition. And if there's any way for people to support you on itch.io, would you encourage people to do that?
Yeah,
through,
if you
financial
like the game,
means, I mean.
If you like the game and want to see it progress, we have exclusive content on itch.io, and it keeps you in the loop and helps us as developers. You can read it on that site. You can go to our website, tablestudios.com, to just learn more about us and provide feedback.
And since the on itch.io there's a tier with $25, would that be indicative of the price range where you're thinking of taking Grayscale?
Yeah, we're thinking of Grayscale being of $30 to the $40 range, with the discounts to go down to $25. Yeah, that is an accurate estimate, and so and so we have the $10 supporter and the $25 backer on itch.io, just depending on interest and what you feel.
So what are you providing for those tiers?
The $10 one is we have a every 2-week developers log newsletter that we send out to a lot of people that have expressed in insane interest, and so the $10 brings you into that to just, we show you what our game looks like now, every fix, every update, every progress that is happening in it, and we get your support from those every 2-week emails. The $25 backer is the supporter, or is the same thing. You get the bi-weekly devlog, but you also get our early builds and our early tests of Grayscale before the summer.
Oh, so wait, so if someone pledges $25, will that does that mean you're gonna give them a bill like right now, or do they have to wait
the
for
next scheduled build is, let me see, the next scheduled build is March 1st is when those people will get the kind of the updated demo. It's the same levels as the demo, but with our updated gameplay that we're working on, and then from there we just keep adding on, and that is for even more. It's kind of being a tester. We're like, hey, we're working on this gameplay aspect. How's this new inventory system? Let us know.
Right. Well, that's pretty soon, actually, March 1st. So that's good to hear, and pretty early compared to summer. So if you want to get in on the action, fast and have an impact on the game in terms of feedback and give your honest opinion about how it works, there's that $25 tier on itch.io. Just see the link in the description below. That was, I don't know, you know what, usually I have some closing remarks. I don't do interviews unless I'm interested in the game, so that would be one thing that would give anyone listening an idea of what I'm thinking. It was pretty much instant, the attraction to it.
Thank you.
I like the artwork that a lot. I hope maybe you can put more artwork, like on the official site, because the few images that are available there are really enticing, and I like that stuff, that sort of thing. And I don't know, it feels like it does have a Dishonored feel to it, but it's a little bit different in the sense that it's not absurd or magical powers, right? It's something that could happen, right? That you could have something like this. I really like the idea of a town that looks like it can be real, and it's not overly designed. I think that would be the thing, because usual, especially since it works with the story, a town that you want to be a test site basically would be more functional than anything else. So I like that it's kind of heavy and functional and not too artistic, at least from the demo, right? I really like this idea of this is a town, people live in it, but it's not a natural city. It's not something that humans have just come together and built. Exactly, yeah. And that feeling, I think, with the design of the level is quite prominent, at least for me it is. So I really like that, and hopefully we'll get to see more very soon. I like it. I like the potential. It's one of the 2 games that impressed me in December. Another one being a game that it may come out earlier, and I'm going to try to talk to those people too, hopefully. But for now, another last question. Can you use 2 weapons at the same time?
At the moment, no, you can't. You can use heavier, stronger weapons or lighter, weaker weapons instead of 2 weapons. But yeah, there is no dual wielding at this moment.
Okay, and with that, we end this interview into the aftermath of Cookie Cruncher, because everyone thought it was an adorable, fun game where you could play and eat cookies, and I'm not really sure what happens in the game because I haven't played it, but it was all, good intentions can lead. Yeah, exactly. It was a cookie at the beginning, and then dystopia. So people, be careful when you eat cookies. Yeah. Be careful what you do with cookies and how you manage them, because they could bring upon the end of humanity as we know it, or sentient robots, whatever comes first. Hopefully, actually, what Grayscale is, if it's a few hundred years in the future, we already have the Elon Musk base on Mars, so at least people are safe on Mars. So that's good. So Mars, yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid. If you play Grayscale and you're like, well, this is like crap. I don't want to live in this world because it's so dark and gloomy and like robots everywhere and there's no human connection. And you have to keep in your mind, chillax. Elon Musk has a base on Mars. We're all fine. Yeah. This is just us leaving the world to the robots, basically. Because they want a home too. Thanks, Anthony, for being here. Any closing words? Again, just so we can wrap it up.
Again, none. Go check out Grayscale on itch.io or go to fatalstudios.com to find a way to play it. And yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, and for me, everyone, as always, if you can, like this live stream, this interview, check out the back catalog. I'm closing in on 2,000 videos. So, and it's not only quantity, it's also quality, obviously. So, if you're interested in indie games in general, then, you know where to go. Just subscribe here on BitChute, because, Altec, why not? Bitcoin, BitChute, we're trying all the things because it's the future maybe. So subscribe here, there on BitChute, or anywhere you like, and just take half a minute to look through the description. There's some ways to which you can support me. Don't take money away from Grayscale. If you want to support them on itch.io. Me, I'm not asking for money. Just, if you buy any games from the Epic Games Store, from, the Humble Store, from FANATICAL, just use the links and the tag in the description. That helps me out a lot. You don't pay anything extra, so that's the way to support me. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and well, I'll see everyone else when? Wait, it's Friday? Friday, right? Yes. So we're gonna see each other Monday. Until then, thank you and have an awesome weekend.